Aloha everyone, this is Hawaii's Pickle Lady. Today I'm going to show you some of the ingredients that I use, and it came all from my pantry, believe it or not. This many. There's probably more. But I'm going to show you how to use these ingredients. And first of all, I'm known as the author of the Pickle Lady's Pickle Passion Cookbook. And I wrote this book over 20 years ago. And believe it or not, it's out of print, but people are still asking for it. And it's only pickles. But now I do everything else. Not only pickles, but meats and desserts and you name it, everything else. So I'm also have been featured in magazines, in newspapers, in I've been on radio shows, TV shows, and I've done tons of demos all over on Oahu, big groups, small groups. And I've also taught many classes doing pickling and other things too. So let's get on with the video. And by the way, this is Lilikoi. She's in the video, and we'll see how long she lasts. And we promised her a treat after. First of all, I have sesame oil. And sesame oil is used just about all Oriental recipes. And then I have the sesame seeds, which are toasted. And again, many recipes use this too. Now I have some wines, and there's all kinds of wines. But in the recipes, I mean, you can change it to different kinds. I have here red wine, and I have here sherry, and I have the Chinese wine. But when they say Chinese wine, you can use other kind of wines too, like your whiskey, your bourbon, or anything else too. It really gives it some flavor. And then there's some white cooking wine. And you see, I use it a lot, so I need to buy some more. Next, I have different kinds of soy sauces. This one is interesting. This is called soy paste. And it's really good, like you can dip it in dim sum, or you can, when you buy those rice noodles and you cut it up, you dip it in that. It's really good. There's a factory at home that makes those noodles, and they suggested that I use this. So I have this one too. Then I have here some mushroom flavored, and it's actually the dark soy sauce. And sometimes the food doesn't have enough coloring, so you add some of this, and it gives it a nicer brown color. Then I have here a thin soy sauce. Sometimes you don't want the soy sauce to be so strong, so this one is a little lighter taste. And this one here is dark soy sauce. And like the mushroom sauce, this also gives some color and some taste. And then the regular soy sauce. Now I like to use the Aloha soy sauce, which is made in Hawaii, but we can get it very easily here in Vegas. And I don't care for the Kikkoman soy sauce because to me it's too salty. And also I don't like, they have so many on the shelves of the Chinese type of soy sauces made in China. But you know, sometimes I don't trust. So I stick to my usually Aloha soy sauce. Next we have some vinegars and apple cider vinegar. Sometimes you want the vinegar a little stronger, so you use this. But I generally use a lot of just white vinegar. And in my pickles, I usually use that. But again, some people like the stronger apple cider vinegar. Then I have here a black vinegar, which is kind of interesting. And this is used specifically for pickled pig's feet with ginger. We have to use some of this and a white vinegar combined. Then I have here a malt vinegar, and this is used for most like your fish and chips kind of dishes. And then here I have rice vinegar, Japanese type. And it's not as strong as your regular vinegar, so sometimes the Japanese like to have this in the Japanese pickles. Then I have here red wine vinegar. Depends again what you're going to make, but you can use it. And then I have Marsala. Actually, this is cooking wine, and you can use it a lot for the Italian dishes. And then I have here some balsamic vinegar, which is used in many different dishes in some of your salads and dressings and other kind of recipes too. Then I have here the rice wine vinegar. Okay. And this one here, I call it a sushi vinegar. It's homemade. So I use this when I make my namasu, the Japanese cucumber pickles, and other types of recipes. And I also use it to make sushi. So I always have this ready on the shelf because it has, you don't have to cook it, you don't have to refrigerate it. After it's made, as long as you use a clean, dry bowl and spoon, I pour it into the bottle and I label it sushi vinegar. So when I want to make special pickles or sushi, I have it all ready and I can use it as is. Then I have here some sake, which are used for Japanese type of pickles and other recipes too. And then also mirin is a very popular, it's a Japanese sweet wine. And again, you can use it in your teriyakis and your other type of marinated meats, and it's very delicious. Next, I have here a Japanese Kewpie mayonnaise. Now, this is very different, and it's very popular now. You see it even in Costco. They sell it by twos. And the difference on this is this has actually egg yolks and some sugar and also some MSG. But people really like this in sushis and other things. So you can give it a try. So I bought a bottle just to try it, but it's almost empty. And then for your spring rolls and your all the other fried goodies, they have here the sweet chili sauce, which comes commercially. I usually make my own, but this one is very convenient because when you want to eat your spring rolls, all you do is you pour some sauce in and then you just dip it and eat it, and boy, it's really delicious. Then I have here some fish sauce, and I like this brand. It's called Three Crabs. You can see the Three Crabs fish sauce. And I like the taste of this better. There's very cheap ones and more expensive ones, but I like this one the best. And then I have here hoisin sauce, which is a kind of a thick, sweet sauce, sweet tangy sauce. And it's really good for, I use it for marinades, I use it for dipping, and say when you have like your roast Peking duck, you can put some of that sauce on, or use it to dip anything else, some noodles or some any kind of vegetables. Sometimes when I stir fry, I also use that. I have here some ume, which is pickled Japanese plums, and it has some chiso or beefsteak leaves in it, and it's very salty, but the Japanese also like to use this in rice balls. When they make rice balls, they put one of this in it, and then I use it, I make pickles with garlic and this, and you can use it in other ways, and sometimes the juice is really good. And it adds a red color. The coloring is natural because the ume and also the chiso leaves give it that color. I have here some homemade roast pork rub. When I make the Chinese roast pork, which is known as sujiuk, I have several ingredients that I roast a little bit, and then I grind it up in a coffee grinder, and I have this fine powder that I use to rub over the meat before I roast it. And I have here all kinds of salt. This is a Malden salt, which is really good. It's kind of a fine flaky sauce, fine flaky salt, but you can just sprinkle a little bit on, like say, even if you make like chocolates, you know, you spread it on crackers and you dip it in there and then you put fruits and all. You can drizzle some of this salt on it. And also when you make like chocolate chip cookies or other cookies, to give it a tang and taste, you can drizzle some of that on. It's very delicious. And I bought this at Costco and it'll last me a long time. Now, I have here also what is called alai salt, A-L-A-E. This is commercially bought in Hawaii, but when I first learned about it, I had a friend who took us on a trip to Kauai up in the mountains, and she actually took us to a little cave where she dug out some dirt, which is red dirt, and I took it home, and then I mashed it up and mixed it with some Hawaiian salt or some rock salt, and then you can have this. And it's very popular in Hawaii. They use it in your red pepper, chili pepper sauce, and other things you can use it with. And then somebody also gave me these vials of salts that are seasoned with different spices and herbs. So you can use that too. And the most famous one, which made, I think, about 10 million views, went viral, is this salt that came from Kauai. And they have ponds, salt ponds, that are on Kauai. And the families tend these ponds. And when it's ready, all the family gets together and they gather the salt. But you cannot sell it. You have to just give it away. This is a known thing about it. So I was at a demo at a library in Hawaii, and some nice lady gave me a bag of salt in a cloth bag. And she told me this is from our family pond. So I was so happy. But when I went to the TSA as a carry-on, and so of course they suspiciously took it on the side and said, oh, they got to check it. But of course they did. And you can look at the video that went viral. You can see the video here and see what exactly happened. Okay. Next is this is a sweet soybean paste, and sometimes it's ground up fine, but this case is just the beans are there. And sometimes I use it in cooking when I want a different kind of flavor and taste. This one here is a chili paste with soybean oil. And I like this one. You can also use it for cooking, for stir fry. But my famous one that I use, you can see the video here. I make a fish head soup and I put this in it. And it gives it salty, sweet, and chili kind of flavor. This is palm sugar that comes from the palm tree. And what they do is they stir it all up and make this thick paste, and then it keeps on going, and then they make it into little balls like this. Only problem is it's really hard to crack. So you need to smash it somehow, or just melt it in a pot slowly, and then you get it. But it's impossible to just use it as is. Okay. I have here some baby salted shrimp, and I use this a lot when I make my fancy kimchi. And I've also watched the ladies in the Korean markets. They also use a lot of this. You don't need a lot. And it's interesting, the shrimp is very tiny, like about 1/8 of an inch long. And when you mix it up in the kimchi, you can't even see it, and you can't even tell, but it adds a nice flavor. This is called sukidani, which is a seaweed paste. And it's somewhat hard to find here in Vegas, but when I went to Hawaii, I bought several bottles, and I keep it like this. So especially when I make spam musubi, I like to put it in. Or you can just put it on rice and eat it. It's really delicious. Keep it refrigerated. This is some black beans, salted, which comes in a container like this. It's cheaper like this. And it comes in a bag, and I'll show you what it looks like. It's kind of smelly, so people don't like it, but when you cook it, it's so delicious. See, it comes like this, the beans. And what you have to do is you have to soak it a few minutes to get off the salt. And then you can just mash it a little bit. And this you can use for many Chinese dishes. In particular, you can make spare ribs that have this beans in it, and you can see the video here. Okay. So a lot of the Chinese ingredients are kind of smelly, but they taste really good if you know how to use it right. Okay. Now I have here some miso, which is soybean paste. And they have different types, the white, the red, the brown. And I usually use the white. It's the more common one that you use. And of course, you go to Japanese restaurants, what do they give you? The miso soup. And they usually put some seaweed or tofu in it, and it's really good. You can also use this to marinate salmon, and it's delicious too. This one is called gochujang, which is a Korean hot pepper paste. Let's see. And you can see this is almost empty too, but I have a new one on the shelf. This is kind of spicy and sweet, but it's up to you how much you put. I use it for sauces, for marinades, and sometimes for soups, for cooking with different kinds of meats too. It's really good. This one here is called Fermented red bean curd sauce. This I use quite a bit because first of all, when I make my char siu, which is the roasted red pork, and you can see the video here. This is it comes in little cakes and in a red wine sauce, and I use it. So when I make also kauyuk, which is the braised red belly pork, I use this, and sometimes for other things too. This is kind of interesting. I have the recipe here. This is the black bean, Korean black bean paste. And it's a thick paste, and you don't have to refrigerate it. It's like this. But when I make the black bean noodles, you put this in, and it's very tasty too. And then I have the fine shrimp paste. And again, this is really smelly. You know, when I was in school in a dormitory in Kansas, of course, sometimes we brought out some of our special pickles that were sent from home and whatnot, and then we'd cook some things. But oh my goodness, when they smelled this, they just literally ran out of the room because they said, oh, that thing really stinks. But it's so delicious. And we use this all the time for stir frying of certain vegetables, to put it in meats, and very delicious. One thing I forgot to add was the oyster sauce, which I use just about in a lot of the different foods. So the brand that I like is Lee Kam Ki Premium Oyster brand. And it's this lady in a canoe with her son, and then you have all the oysters in it. So it's really delicious. I think this is the best of the oyster sauces. Okay, so remember, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and like this button, because there's so many recipes, and this is only the tip of the iceberg. And so when you look at my videos, you can see. And tell your friends about it. And hopefully you've learned some of these things that I've, suggested to you. But there are many more. So this is just some of the things that I use. So mahalo for watching, and see you in the next video.